My name is Prahlad Nrisimha Das. I live in Mayapur, India. Mayapur is like 4 hours down from Varanasi, in a delta of the Ganges, almost in West Bengal. We are making a very nice Vedic city there. It's a new city. It started in 1970 and is growing very nicely. It's a different kind of city. It's necessary, I think. Mayapur is a very ancient holy place in India. Maya means magic, actually. Maya means illusion. It means magic. And Pur means town. Just like you have see Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and even here in Deutschland you have Salzburg. The Burg becomes the P in Sanskrit. That's why you have also Ekaterinburg, etc., etc., etc. And also in English you have the same. So the word Pur means town or city. And Mayapur will be the magic town. And also means Ma means mine. And Mayapur is the name of Vishnu. He said, this is my town, Mayapur. It's a very nice place. Hopefully one day you can visit. We'll become quite famous in these next 2 decades, because we are making a huge Vedic planetarium. It's a temple. There is a combination of ancient architecture from the Vedas, and at the same time has all the new technology to show how the universe is seen through the Vedas. The Vedas are the ancient Sanskrit scriptures from India. Veda comes from the Sanskrit word Ved. Ved means to look, to see. So the Vedas are, you cannot define it in one book. They're unlimited sources of knowledge. The Veda is more like described like a tree, like a big banyan tree, who has so many branches. Yes, please, you can record. You can take pictures, you cannot take pictures, whatever you want. Normally this Vedic knowledge was recited, was transmitted through recitation of mantras, was not written down, was not necessary. The people had enough memory, enough gedanks, you said? You got intelligence to just record it. Just this insignificant machine can record what speak our brains. But in the Kali Yuga, the age that we are living now, our capacity to have memory diminishes. And then we become doubtful if we have memory or not. So then we need to write. So the Vedas also were written 5,000 years ago. Vyasadeva is, as you know, the literary incarnation of the Vedas. He recorded the Vedas in codes, in Sanskrit and sutras. And then you have the Puranas, 18 Puranas, the Itihasas, the Upanishads, the corollaries of the Vedas, plus the 4 Vedas, the Ayurveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and Samaveda. Unlimited sources of knowledge, plus you have also what is called the Upavedas, or sources of knowledge who not necessarily deal with the spiritual realm, but deals with something like we need it in this material world. It's not a permanent knowledge, it's a temporary knowledge based in time, place, and circumstances. This is called Desha, Kala, Patra. Desha means place, like Bangladesh. Desha means a place. Bangla means jungle. Bangladesh is a place with many jungles. Desha also you have in your language, like in Latin, etc., or the Indo-European languages as Disha or Diso, like Paradiso or Paradise in English. Diso or Desha, the same word. And Para means above, like parapsychology, etc. Para means above, and Paradesha means the land that is above. Or paradise means some place beyond material. So Desha, Kala, and Patra. Kala means time in Sanskrit. From there you have words like calendar. Andar means to walk, the movement, and Kala means time. This is an English, in posh English, called clock. It's kala, kalak, clock. From there you have calendar, calendarium. You also have words like, many is Latin words. Let's move on. So we have desha, kala, and patra means the circumstances. So if these three things are together, desha, kala, and patra, then we can understand things. So in this particular world that we are now, particular place inside the universe, it's just one place. This place is called Martialoka. Loka means place, location. Like in English, location. How you say it in Dutch? Location, loka. So loka means place. And this is called Martialoka. Place where death happens all the time. Martia comes from Marte, muerte in Latin. So something that happens all the time is death in this place. Maybe now we are breathing, but someone else is not breathing anymore. And someone is just taking the first breath. Someone is taking the last breath. As living entities right now who are just dying in the light. And other ones are taking birth. So it's a place where you can see this happening constantly. So that's why it's called Martialoka. And this is just one area of the universe, of these particular universes. And there is millions of such universes. So to try to understand astrology, we have to go beyond our place. And also we have to understand where we are located. Where we are located. You have heard the word loco in Spanish, when Latin means someone who is crazy. Loco, isn't it? Why they said like that? Because it's dislocated. It's not in his proper place. So he don't understand where he is, or he is a little bit lost. So in a sense, we are all a little bit locos. Because we are not know where we are, really. Inside this whole material creation. Who we really are. Sometimes we think we are this, sometimes we think they are that. Now we are in this particular vessel, but it's just water that we are taking, and it's same air that we are taking, but we think we are Germans, but it's just air. Air doesn't have this is not German air. Maybe just few hours we're like in Arctic someplace. This is not Munich air, already passed through so many. Same as water. And this body is basically made 75% water, they said. So we are not the body. So we see that we have identities that we create depending on time, place, and circumstances where we are. So it's not permanent knowledge. It's just a transitory knowledge. So astrology, to understand a little bit more what we're going to talk about, Ayur means life. Duration of life, Ayur. It not necessarily means health or medicine. Ayur means just life. Ayurveda means the science to how to prolong and how to live peacefully, balanced life. Astro comes from a Sanskrit word. Astro means flashing light. I don't know if you have heard about the Brahmastras. Astra means weapons. Before it was used through the power of mantra. Through the power of mantra, they were able to condense energy and make it explode anywhere they want. So they were called Brahmastras. Brahma means the Brahmanas who knew these mantras, the Brahmanas, they used the Astra, this particular condensation of energy, and throw it. So that very passing flashlight was called Astra. And obviously logic is more like a Greek word for knowledge. So astrology is basically the knowledge of the passing lights, or what we call the astros. In Sanskrit, the planets are called grahas. It's a more, everything in Sanskrit has a definition, has to define the object. So graha means, like in English, gravitational. Grav means what attracts. Like gravitational, that is correct. There is someone needs translation into German. Maybe we can use one little corner for anybody who needs, but also we can give you a copy of what we talked today, and then you can make a translation. It's a little technical, but it's important to see that it's not a science. This is not a science who is basically, this is not just something interesting from India, or astrology is something that in the medieval times. No, it's a science. From astrology comes astronomy. The Western astronomy comes from this ancient knowledge of astrology. So Graha means planet. Every planet has a gravitational influence. Just like now, I try to attract your attention. I'm using my power of attraction through knowledge, because you're coming very eager to hear. I try to attract your minds. So you are under my influence. In a sense. It's correct? So the same way, each planet has a power of attraction. And it's not something impersonal. It is personal. Like, for example, the sun. The sun, in Sanskrit, is called Surya. When we're talking about the sun, we are not talking about the globe. We are talking about the person who rules the sun. It's called Surya. Surya is a demigod. Now we will think, oh, wait a minute, this sounds more like mythology. You know, these were defined by the British who came to India, and they heard these very ancient stories, and they said, this is mythology, because cannot be proven right now. But what is a myth? Something that I cannot test it with my own senses. But just let's do a little bit of logic. Like, for example, here we have electric light. Is this impersonal? Is this comes just out of nowhere? No, it comes from a source. It comes from a powerhouse. And this powerhouse has for sure a person in charge. It's not just a machine. It has a person behind it. And behind all these people who's working the powerhouse is a minister of energy and minds, who knows how much power is needed, how much has been used, etc., etc., etc. So behind is an intelligence. So behind is a gent, intelligent. Gent means gentleman, a person. We cannot think about intelligence without people. So this gent of the sun is very much empowered to govern this particular planet. We see it comment every day at the same time. Something is ruling, something is managing this particular planet. It's not acting whimsically, going here and there. Every day, precisely, must be German. Precisely is coming in time. So that's something to understand. There is a person behind. So we get under the influence of the sun. The sun is the king of all other planets. So why is he king? Because he has that kind of personality. He has that personality. And he is the one that influences through his rays everywhere he touches. We're going to get into more detailed astrology. Now I'm just trying to give you a glimpse of why we are somehow influenced by these planets. Like, for example, the moon. We all know the moon is a female energy, isn't it? Sanskrit said that if half of the body, the right half is the sun, and the right half is the moon. Like when you practice pranayama, if anybody of you practice yoga, the left side carries cold air, and the right side carries warm air. These are two sides of the same body, but one is masculine and the other one is feminine. This inverted in the brain becomes the practical brain and the idealistic brain. Now, this one is masculine, one is the sun planet, the other one is feminine, the moon. The moon governs water. We know that. Like for example, the oceans, they move back and forth by the influence of the moon. Am I correct? Is this scientific? Is this science? Yes. The moon definitely is governing the movement of water. You cut trees when the water is not inside the tree. When the water is inside the tree, the wood will be useless. The bugs will come and eat it. So you have to know the facets of the moon to cut trees. If this body is 75% water, obviously the moon is going to affect us. So just right there you have a scientific explanation of the influence of the moon and your good self. Now females, they follow the cycle of the moon. The moon has 28-day cycle. Coincidentally, females also follow this cycle. And what is this cycle all about? It's just about water, isn't it? The charge or discharge of water. Then we call it blood because it's just more rich. It's water with all kind of elements on it. The elements, they come from other planets. You will say, no, these elements come from the earth. Yes, but the earth is attracting water in the form, and attracting energy in the form of photosynthesis, isn't it? Synthesis means to synthesize, and photo means light. So basically, even what we eat is light. The light of different planets, not just the sun. The scientists are a little bit behind in this knowledge. So they think that only the sun has energy. But actually, each and every planet has a specific energy. And he's also pulling, is using his Graha part, his influence in each part of our body. Here is just an explanation of the macro and the micro. We have a macrocosmos. Outside we have a whole creation outside. And inside this body we have a microcosmos. Like for example, we have here the main chakras. You already know by heart. Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, and Agna chakra. What is this chakra? Chakra means circle of energy. Circle. Movement. This means chakra. I don't know if you visit Peru, for example, you find that when they put the different kinds of crops, they call it chakras. Because they are rotating the crops. Sometimes they put corn, sometimes they put wheat, sometimes it's rotation of crops, they call it chakras. So the chakras are movement of energy. Now the Muladhara chakra, the last chakra, is the chakra of earth. The chakra of earth. So this chakra is connected with a particular planet. This chakra is being ruled by Mercury. Because Mercury is earth. Has the energy of Mercury and Mars. But basically Mercury rules the earth. So we have the element earth in our body. But how do we attract this energy inside the body? And why, when the soul is gone, these elements, they just go out? It's not that we open some kind of flush and everything goes out. Just the elements are not contained anymore. The elements, they separate. This makes sense when I'm talking? So, the next chakra is called Swadhisthana. Swadhisthana is the chakra that controls water or the blood. So obviously this chakra is going to be connected with the moon planet. Isn't it? Because the moon rules this. So this is the embassy, in a sense, of the moon, this micro part of the moon inside the body, to regulate the flow of our water. Our tears, our sweat, so many functions, detailed functions of water. The traveling of the water with the enzymes are fire, they're sent by the liver, it's obviously connected with the sun and Mars. So everything that's happening in this body has to do with the movement of the planets. So this Swadhisthana chakra is the moon. The Manipura chakra is fire. We have fire inside the body because we have a permanent temperature. We all have a temperature, isn't it? So if we find temperature, we can be sure that someone turned on some chimney inside. Chimney, you said? Some source of fire is inside permanently. We put some food on it, and then the liver, some very nice fire in the form of acids. These acids are as good as fire. So this is the Manipura chakra that regulates fire in the body, and obviously is ruled by the sun. Without the sun, this chakra will not be working as well. Now we have to go a little bit into astrology. Depending at the time of your birth, how powerful is the sun in your chart? Do I make myself understood? If you have any question, please jump in, don't worry. Here is a very perfect drawing. Hopefully you understand. You all can see. This is any one of us. And it's separated this body into 12 parts. These 12 parts are the influence of the 12 zodiac signs. We have 12 signs, isn't it? But they are not just signs, they are constellations, something observable, something that you can see. Taurus is there, Aries is there, Capricorn, all these are there in the sky, passing like a belt from the east to the west every single time. Just like the planets rise in the east and set in the west, also the movement of the zodiac is taking the same direction. And this zodiac is influencing in our construction, how we are made. Like I can see your faces, and I more or less I know your charts. I know at what time you were born, just by seeing the shape of your noses or the color of your eyes, the shape of the body, because it's just obvious, it's there. Why? It's not mystical, it's just science. The first house, if you see the line of the horizon, if this is the east, this line of the horizon is the first house in the horoscope. By the way, horoscope also is a Sanskrit word. Horoscope. Hora in Sanskrit means time. Hora. Even the Sanskrit books for Jyotish or for astrology is called Parashara, Hora, Shastra. Shastra means scripture, Hora means time, or the scriptures about time. So Hora means time, and from then scope is to see. So horoscope is to see future or time. In Spanish, this is hora, time to do something. So the horoscope of a person has to do a lot with what was rising in the east at the time of your birth. Let's say you were born at 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you're born at 6 o'clock in the morning, obviously the sun will be in the first house, isn't it? If you are born at 12 o'clock in the morning, the sun will be in the 10th house, because they go like this. First house is always 30 degrees. Just let's do it that way. This is the first house in the east. 30 degrees. We have 360 degrees of space around us, isn't it? These 360 degrees are divided into 12 houses. The first house is 30 degrees towards the line of the horizon down. The second house will be always there. The third, the fourth. The fifth is always under our feet. The sixth, the seventh is where the sun sets. 8, 9, 10, where the sun is in the zenith. 11 and 12. So this closes the 360 degrees. So if you were born in a particular point in time, we have to see where the planets were at that moment. With the sun is easy. If you were born at 12 o'clock at night, you will be in the 5th house, isn't it? If you were born at 7 o'clock in the evening, the sun will be here and setting in the west. If you were born at 12 o'clock at night in the day, you will be here in the north. Isn't it? Make sense? To make sense? So let's try to grab it from here. So if a person is born at 6 o'clock in the morning, has a huge influence from the sun, because the sun is in the 1st house. Isn't it? In the 1st house is the childhood and is the upper part of the head. In the body will be this part. Is the 1st house. And if the sun is in the 1st house, we will see the influence of the sun in the face. So we'll see eyes like that. Very powerful eyes. We'll not see someone like this because they will be Venus or Moon. But we will see someone with powerful sight. We also will see a little bit reddish face. The face will be a little bit reddish. What to speak, if Mars is also situated nearby, then he will flush very easily. We will see his head getting very red if he is a little bit flushed or he's angry. Or his emotions will not be able to disguise his emotions. Why? Because the planets of fire, this planet, I have put here the Sun, Mars, and Ketu, that is new for you maybe. Ketu is a planet that is non-observable by telescopes or by the human eye, but is the planet that sends, what do you call the red, what do you call this ray that is infrared? The scientists say that they discovered, but it's always there for millions of years. They were not just waiting until the scientists discovered it. What is the influence of infrared? This is Ketu. Very powerful influence. So the Sun, Mars, and Ketu, they make the fire combination. And this fire combination in Ayurveda is called Pitta. You have heard of Pitta, Vata, and Kapha? So this Pitta aspect of the person will be defined in his chart depending where is located the Sun, Mars, and Ketu. Just like I just did a chart of a little boy who has the Sun, Mars, and Ketu located in the 7th house. The 7th house in the body, the 7th house, the house of marriage in astrology, the 7th house. And obviously, the reproductive organs also correspond to the 7th house. So this little boy has Mars, the Sun, and Ketu in this 7th house at the time of birth. He's 2 years old. He's in the clinic full of tubes because he has too much fire in this area. So he has problems with his kidneys, problems with his testicles, problems with everything related with the generative organs. And he's crossing right now a period of Rahu and Ketu. So all this together has manifested at this point. And hopefully if 3 months more past this transit, things will get better. The doctors will say we cure him. But actually he just transit. He just went throughout of these 3 very powerful planets and the confluence with Rahu. So the position of these planets, Sun, Mars, and Ketu, makes the fire in the body. And we can see in the people, it's easy to see by the color of their hair, by the expression, by the strength in the body, or by the lack of color, where these planets are located. The other 3 planets, Mercury, Saturn, and Rahu, creates the air aspect called Vata in Sanskrit. Vata. So these 3 planets create the aspect of air. Like now we are in winter, so Vata is ruling this winter. Each season also has a ruler. And Vata is wind, dryness. So we are ruled right now by Vata. So people who are already skinny, already Vata, in this particular time of the year, they dry very fast. And they have also more nervousness, more anxieties, more prone to diseases, because they are already Vata and they are in a Vata time. Now, depending in the astrology, where these 3 planets are located, it will also show us our health related with Vata in the body. Does this make sense? And the planets for water, obviously, is Jupiter, the Moon, and Venus. These 3 planets rule water, one more than the other. Like, for example, Venus is taste. In Sanskrit, Venus is called Shukra. Shukra is the name of Venus. Now, what word is near to Shukra? Do you know? Shukara, yes. It's the same Sanskrit, Sukara. Or Asukar. Or sugar. So, Shukra, Venus, gives the sweet taste to vegetables, fruits, etc., etc. Love. It's the sweet aspect of the enjoyment part. So, Shukra rules the tongue. So, when someone has Shukra or Sukara in the second house, this is the second house who rules the mouth, the ear, the tonsils, the throat. If Venus is here, if Venus will be here, we will be very much controlled by the tongue. We love to eat. Obviously, we will talk nicely, we will sing nicely, we'll be sweet in his spoken words, you said. We'll be also funny. We like to always make jokes. The person will be sweet, but all jolly. But the person will be also controlled very easily by his tongue, by his taste. And there is different kinds of tastes. Some of you study a little bit of Ayurveda. Well, it's just a question of observed life. Taste is there for pungent, dry, sweet, sour, salty. All these different tastes are there in different products too. So because the Shukra controls the tongue, we can get hooked in any one of these tastes and very difficult to give